Right, this is my 1949 Dodge, and this Dodge has got a straight six, basically 4-litre engine. It's a flathead, and what is special about this car is that basically it is an original car. Now, I bought the car in 2004. And it came from the United States, so I'm the only owner in the UK. But the car was in storage from 1961. It's a 1949 car, and it went into storage in 1961 in Tennessee. And it came out of storage because it was purchased by a film company and used in a film. I do have somewhere the VHS tape of the film sticker still. That's the last time this car was registered or taxed, whatever it is, in the United States, 1961 in Kentucky. Now, I bought the car, in 2002 when the film company had this car. They repainted it. And this is the paint that was on the car when I bought it in 2004. It's not been resprayed, it's never been in an accident, it had no problems other than any little tiny things I'll talk about in a minute. So that's the original color and the original paintwork that was put on it in 2002. As I understand, I think there is a sticker inside the door that says that. I've had to do very little to this car over the years because the car is so good. Now, when I bought it, it had 28,000 miles on it, and now I think it's got 38 or 39. I'll check that. Right, well, I've just checked that, and that's 41,047 miles. So I've taken it from 28,000 to 41,000. Now, mechanically, the only problem that we ever had on it was the clutch went at one point. And this car is a fluid drive, and because it's a fluid drive, I was able to drive it home without a clutch. We had a new clutch fitted, and I mean, that was about 8 or 9 years ago, maybe even longer. It wasn't long after I had it, I think. Now, the interior of the car was original when I bought it, but as it had sat for so many years, the inside, though it wasn't really worn, it was actually deteriorating as I sat on it, and it was not in good condition in terms of age. So I decided to completely take the interior out and replace it with something that was more durable and sympathetic. So everything we see here in terms of the coverage of the seats, the carpet is new, door cards have been recovered, so that's all new, and I put a new headlining in. So the headlining at the time was new, and that headlining's been in here now since about 2005. So I changed the color, but I picked some things that I felt were sympathetic to the original. But these are a sort of a plasticky vinyl. They look and feel like cloth, but they're not, and so they're washable and more durable than cloth. It includes everything, even the little parcel shelf, which is in the same washable plasticky material that's on the back of the seat and on the door cards. And these are all covered, of course, with the same material as the seat. So there we are, that's all through, and it's, as I say, it's new carpets. The original painted wood effect is in perfect condition on the dash, but it was scratched on the side here, which was originally a wood effect as the dash. So I decided to repaint it. So we actually repainted that. So I think the final effect is really nice. Got the same cloth as on the headlining here as on the visors, and the headlining of course is really tight, as you can see. It was really well done, and it's just as it was when it was put in 10 years ago, I think. Now a lot of this car is stainless steel, which is good, which all this trim is stainless. Now this car has not been cleaned up for this video, and it's a bit dusty and dirty looking, and I don't keep it meticulously polished and clean because I want to keep it in its original state, and I certainly don't want to wear it away. And over the years I haven't used lots of chrome polish. I've kept the chrome cleaned, and if you were to polish it, I think you could get out all these little bits of imperfection that are on there. Now it could be cleaned up a lot, but I didn't want to keep doing it because I didn't want to wear the original chrome away. I wanted to keep it as original as possible. Anyway, getting back to when we first had the car, all the brakes were completely overhauled, and obviously it's serviced regularly and checked and everything, so the brakes work really well. I mean, they're drum brakes, but they actually work very well. About 5 years ago I fitted a stainless steel free flow exhaust, and when we start the engine up, you'll see it sounds absolutely fantastic. So the exhaust system here, that's a chrome piece at the end, but it is a stainless steel exhaust, which sounds really nice. Another thing I did on the boot of the car, I had it all carpeted out. So we've got a nice beautiful boot. Now we've had new cards put in the side. The carpet is got underfelt as well, and it's carpeted up on the side here, as you can see, which is really luxurious. New card at the back. The wheel is I can't get that out, but the wheel is okay, I guess. I think that one's okay. Yeah, it's got plenty of tread on that, but it's an old tire obviously, but it's a full-size spare obviously. There's the original jack, and to say this is original, there's the original piece of card that was attached to the jack when it was new, so it's still on there. And other tools that were there, we made a little bag here, and we put them in there. That's got the forgotten what's in there now. It's got a few tools in here. Well, it's a little tool bag without much in it, but there is a cover here, because I had a second battery at one point, a leisure battery, which I put in the back at one point to run the washers. It was a 12-volt leisure battery, and it ran the 12-volt washers. But now I've managed to find a good 6-volt motor to work the washers. But the wipers, of course, are the original vacuum and are still working perfectly. So let's see. Well, another thing, just to mention it, this is worth mentioning, that you can tell with cars, the condition of them, and these old cars, which have handles like this, where you pull them down to open, is usually the driver's door. And you see these cars, they've been restored, they look absolutely fantastic, but the driver's one is hanging down like that because the spring's worn. But on this, because it's had so little wear, it's perfect. And another aspect of the condition of this car that shows how good it really is the locks. I'll try them in a minute, but to show you. But all the original locks work, and they work off the original key. So it's not a second lock that's been fitted, and the little covers work really good, and all the car does lock. So you can lock this car up, which is really nice. Okay. Now let's have a look inside and start the car up. So all the dials work. Before we start, the radio. Now the radio worked perfectly up until about a year ago, and what I think has happened is there's a band which turns the tuning for the radio, which tunes it, and I think that's broken. It's snapped. So I don't believe there's much wrong with the radio, but I haven't had it fixed, and they can be fixed fairly easily. I've had a number of these radios fixed, and there is a couple of guys in this country that do them quite easily. You send them away and they just send them back fixed. So this radio is worth actually just taking out again, but I haven't done it. So it's a 6-volt system, and once the car is warm, as you can see, it starts first time. When it's cold, it will start first time as soon as petrol gets to it, because it's got a mechanical pump, so the engine keeps churning over on the key until petrol reaches the engine. As soon as it does, then it fires up. But we have fitted, it was automatic choke, but I wasn't happy with that because that wasn't working too well, so we fitted a manual choke down here. That's a manual choke. You see, we pull it out and it's affecting the engine. Yep. So that's a manual choke, and that works really well. Now the washers, as I say, I fitted a 6-volt electric system, so that works off a little switch down here, that one, and it works. Well, it's either got no water in it, we'll check, or the jets have blocked up, but it does work. I can hear it going, but there's no water coming out of the moment. I think the jet's probably blocked up from it hasn't been from inactive use. So we'll check that in a minute. We've got, I mean, there's not many controls in this car. We've got lights, we've got wipers here, and they are vacuum. They work really well, but of course, if anyone's familiar with vacuum, they'll know that as soon as you put your foot down on the throttle, they slow down, and then they come to a stop when you turn them off. The charging gauge is working, as you can see, and all the other gauges do work: fuel, oil, temperature. So you've got all the gauges that you really need. Speedo works okay, and that's about it really, because we've got indicators. Now, indicators on this car were not fitted when it was first sold to it was an optional extra, so the person who originally bought it didn't have indicators or signals, but I fitted an aftermarket kit, which is this one, and they work fine. And they've also got a hazard light there that you pull out, so there's hazards on it. The heater works, 2-speed fan. You can hear the fan going, I think. And basically it's only hot or cold, but it is good. I mean, it's really warm. If we put the lights on, lights are on outside, but we've got a light in the dash, and I can't remember where that is now. So look. Somewhere. Ah, that's it. Right. So that light, I can work here. There's one on the other side, I think. I think there was. That one there. Maybe the bulb's gone. But there is that little light you can turn on. Right, that's off. And it's got a rear so that's right. Sorry, I'm sounding all confused here because I haven't used this for a long time. That's a rheostat for the dash lights, and then when you take it to its final position, it works that. Actually, that light as well, I think, comes on when you open the passenger door. Nope. Yeah, it does. There you are. It's that switch there. Now, this was quite common on these cars, that the courtesy light came on only when you open the passenger door. not the driver's door. That was quite normal. We've got a cigarette lighter. And a glove compartment. Oh, and there is also an interior light, and that works, which switches on and off here. And it should work. Yep, there we are. I think there's a job here that needs doing, and that is really all the contacts need cleaning. So I turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on. Yeah, that's working. So we've got an interior light. Right, so we'll have a look at the engine. Now there is a bonnet release here, down here. See, all this is stainless steel. All of this, so no corrosion problems. Now the engine is all original. And it's never been worked on, it's never been taken out, obviously, never been worked on. And I would suspect that it's as it was when it came out the factory. I've not cleaned it or anything, so we've got nearly, 65 years or 68 years of sort of surface rust on it or whatever. And here how quiet it is. The original oil bath filter. It's got a fairly new battery, 6 volt. And that there is the 6 volt washer system, and it's not working because there's no water in it. That explains why that is. The pump is going, but there is no water in the reservoir. That's actually off a VW transporter. It's an old NOS stock I found. So you got all the original plates, but I've not cleaned it or done too much because I've left it in its original state. There's only some surface corrosion there, and there again, I mean, you could really brush it all off and paint it all up and everything, do what you wanted, but I kind of left it all original. But there's no rust. I mean, all this metal here is all sound. It's as solid as anything. The horns work. Now, recently we've done a few things. Well, we've done one thing that I'm really pleased about, and that is these are the indicators that I fitted, and they're not necessarily the best, but I fitted them and I've left them now. So you could fit something to the body, but I kind of like those. They didn't interfere with the body, and they look alright and they work, and people can see them, which is the main thing. Now, when this car was built, and almost all the time I had it, the stoplights were here. It had a funny system that we don't have now. The side lights or the rear tail lights were in here, but when you put the stoplights on, they came on here. So these were only stoplights. These were two stoplights, and these were just tail lights. But what I did about 6 months ago, we changed the bulbs to LEDs, because then you're pretty certain that you're not going to, and they're a bit brighter, and you're not going to get bulbs failing, which the old bulbs often did. But what I did was we converted these to stoplights as well. So when you stop now, you've got lights in the middle and lights on each side. It's much safer, and it looks nicer actually. So these are all tower LEDs. And the headlights are all working. Let's put those on, and the indicators, we'll just have a look. It's difficult to see in this light. headlights on, and those indicators. Originally they were side lights at the bottom, but we put the side lights up in the side lights are up in the where the headlights are. That one's a bit. That glass is a bit on the right is a bit misted over. It does actually dry out when you've got the lights on for a bit and clears up. That one, I think we fitted a new bulb in that one recently, possibly that's why it's a bit brighter as well. Okay. That's a sticker that was on it when I bought it. So that's from 2002. Now, the thing about these cars are, and if you're not familiar with them, it's a 3-speed manual, but it's got a fluid drive. Now that means that you can be in gear, and when you stop you don't have to have the clutch in. So you've got 3 speeds here on this column, and you have to put the clutch in to change gear. So it's in neutral at the moment, and it is towards you. It's spring loaded, so it's towards you, and up is reverse, down is first, back to neutral, and then in its down position, which is its normal position, you've got third and fourth. Now in normal driving, these cars you don't really use first. It's such a low gear and there's so much torque on this engine, you normally just use second and third. You can actually pull away in third, which is top gear, and when you drive you very seldom change down at all. Once you're driving, moving, you're in top gear virtually all the time. So to pull away, we'll put the clutch in, put it up into second, take the handbrake off, which is down here, an umbrella type, so the handbrake is off. We're in second. Now what I'm going to do is put my foot on the brake, and I'm letting, whoops, I'll just show you. Right, I've got my foot on the brake, well, I'm in gear, I've got my foot on the brake, and I'm letting the clutch out, and the car is not moving, and it's not stalling. So it's like an automatic now, because of the fluid drive. Now as I let my foot off the brake, as an automatic, it's starting to creep forward. It will creep. So you just go to the throttle, it moves forward, and then when you want to stop, you just put your foot on the brake, and it's in gear, but it won't stall. And there you are, pulling away in second. Now that's that. So that's second, and that's very, very easy. I mean, you don't need first. So that's second. It pulls away absolutely lovely. I'm on grass, so I'm not trying to spin the wheels too much. Now to put it back in reverse. So you have to put the clutch in though to change gear. So now in reverse. Back into, now we're in top now, and it will pull away in top. It pulls away absolutely fine. The only reason that you would use second, of course, in modern traffic is because usually when you pull away you're either at traffic lights or you're at a roundabout or whatever, and you need to pull away rather quickly. So on that basis you would put it into second. But if there were not many no cars around really, you could just drive it around in top, and in fact in that basis you would never actually change gear, because you could leave it in top. So I'll put it in top now. Okay, so we're in top. Let's see if I can just turn this with one hand. Actually I'm going very gently because of the grass is a bit wet. So I'm in top, and that'll drive up 65, 70, whatever in that gear, and then when you stop, you just stop, put your foot on the brake, you don't do that, no clutch, and then back onto the throttle and pull away, and there again I'm pulling away gently. steering is extremely light on this car. It's a big steering wheel. I mean, I'm doing it in one hand, but it hasn't got power steering, obviously. It's very light though, considering. Right, well, that's about it, I guess. So I've had the car for since 2004, which is 12 years, and frankly I've had very little problem, as I say, apart from the clutch. Just to recap, I mean, we've had, what I can recall is we've had the clutch, as I say, done the lights. I mean, obviously we've done lights over the years and things like that. We've got lovely hubcaps. The hubcaps are all original. Tires are all pretty new. I mean, these tires are actually got minimal wear. I mean, there's virtually no wear on those tires. I think pretty minimal. I wouldn't. They're cross plies. Now, I've driven to Birmingham in this car a couple of times, and I've done some fairly, longish journeys to car shows, and I wouldn't have cross plies again on them because they track a lot on the roads. I'd buy the new white wall radials, which I put on a couple of other cars I had, and they're very good, but the tires are good and the car drives lovely. Though it would drive better if it had radials. It would hug the road a bit better. Now, the only bit of rust that I've had on this car, and it is only a little bit, and it's come back again, is this little bit of bubbling that's here. It's only in this one spot, and that's been repaired once a couple of years ago, and it started to come back. Now, the rest of the car, there is no rust. The doors, there's no rust on these doors. There's no rust down here. This is all the original paintwork. This hasn't been touched up. This is as I've had it in 2002. It was painted in 2002. Sorry, I had it in 2004. And you can see there's no rust anywhere on this car. No rust at the bottom of the doors. All these are, you run your hand down, there's nothing there. There's virtually no marks on the car. There might be the odd, I think there was one little scuff here on this side. This bumper had a little scuff here, and there's something here. It's just been rubbed. Somebody rubbed that there. Might be able to buff it out, but it's not bad. There's a little ding on that bit of trim there, which could be banged out. It looks to me like somebody's done that when it was parked somewhere, because I didn't do it. But other than that, I mean, the car's never had an accident, it's never been damaged, and it's had no bodywork other than that small amount of repair. So it isn't too bad for a car of its age. And there's no rust, on these wheel arches. All this is completely run your hands around. There's no mud under there hardly, and it's all sound, absolutely sound, which is amazing, really. All the doors, wherever you look at them. As I say, I haven't done a big clean-up job on this car. I've just left it as it is. And you can see, I mean, there's a car that I've had for all these years, and the paintwork is still basically as good as it was when I bought it. Anyway, I can't think of anything else that I should say other than the fact that everything works and it drives like a dream. It does drive lovely. It's as tight as anything, and really tight. Steering's good. Steering's very tight, and the suspension is good. It feels together. It really feels like a fairly new car, and I'm guessing that it drives virtually as it was when it was new. It's quite fast, this one. It's faster than my other Dodge. You can cruise at 60, 65 without any real problem. I tend to do about 55, I must admit, on the highway, and the fuel consumption isn't too bad. I get about mid-20s, I think, in it, which isn't too bad for the size of this engine. Well, there we are. things that I've put right, maybe on the radio and a few bits and pieces here and there, it's almost, well, you could turn it into a pretty Concorde car, really, if you wanted to. But I like it as it stands, because it basically is an original car that hasn't been restored. It really is original. Lovely.